Welcome to General Manager's Corner. Today I'm being joined by Bruce Lucker, CEO of Signature Group out of Ponte Vedra. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Bruce, before we get started, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your career arc. How did you end up in the club industry and how did you get to the position that you're at right now?
Well, I had the good fortune of spending my early years in the hospitality industry and then migrated into sports and entertainment. Actually worked at Madison Square Garden, and that was an incredible experience. And as things would have it, there was an opportunity originated from the PGA Tour. They were looking for someone to come in and help to address the evolution and growth of the World Golf Village and the World Golf Hall of Fame. So I did a consulting project for them. They were so impressed with the work we did that I was hired to be the Chief Operating Officer of the World Golf Hall of Fame, the World Golf Village in St. Augustine, and that really morphed me into the golf and club industry. And since then, we've spent the last 28 years working in the club industry.
That's amazing. Congratulations on the 28 years.
Thank you.
Signature, your company, Signature Group, worked with many different clubs all over the country.
All over the world.
All over the world. And what have you been seeing with your clubs as far as like this notion where members are living longer, they're more active later in life? How is that impacting what you're seeing out there?
Well, it's interesting that you brought up that topic, Howard, and it really is timely. Living longer is not something that you're only seeing in clubs, but it's seeing in life in general. Everyone seems to be focused on longevity, and yet the thing that one needs to be thinking about is not only longevity, but the cognition. Are you getting the most out of your additional years? There's an author named Dr. Peter Attia that wrote a book called Outlive, and he coined a phrase called Healthspan. So what you want to focus on is not just your lifespan, but your health span, what's going to go on in the quality of your life. And clearly, he talks about the discipline of coming up with a new lifestyle where it's not just taking a magic pill or just taking a smoothie. It's really, or just going to the club for exercise every now and then. It's really getting into a new routine, which I think opens up the opportunity for clubs to be able to engage their senior members more and provide them the opportunity to not only live longer, but improve their quality of life.
Speaking of quality of life and obviously living longer, can you give us maybe an example of a club that you've worked with that had, like, say, a specific issue, and how did you sort of resolve that with regards to trying to extend the offerings with regards to the members?
Well, in the course of the growth of our company, we've not only worked with clubs that are trying to address the pros and cons of senior membership. It's one thing to want to try and find out how to retain senior members, but at the end of the day, it's really important to be able to activate senior members. And being able to introduce some ideas, which I'll share with you in a moment, is important because clubs today that are more and more, certainly since COVID, are developing waiting lists. They want to make sure that those senior members are not just paying their dues, but they're also spending time and money at the club. So in our experience, we were asked by the Club Spa and Fitness Association to come in and manage the association, which are made up of all the spas and fitness clubs just within clubs, not anywhere else. And it's a fast-growing part of the the club portfolio, excuse me. And what we've learned is that probably the fastest growing new amenity in clubs today is health, fitness, and wellness. In fact, ultimately, after 3 years of working with Club Spa and Fitness Association and its growth, CMAA decided to acquire the association and made it the benchmark for now their community wellness group. So wellness within the club industry is of paramount interest. Our own particular examples are we find that more and more clubs are not only interested in the fitness and wellness piece, but that we're interested in sports that seniors can participate. We all see what's happening with pickleball. We have sporting clubs, let alone country clubs and golf clubs, and yacht clubs that all have pickleball courts. And those are really geared to the senior member. The point that I want to make, though, is that ultimately, working with clubs, we've learned that trying to make sure that they're respecting the longevity of their oldest members, but also keeping an eye on the need to bring in the next generation of members. And so part of the way that that's appeased by a club that has senior members is when senior members are bringing in their families and they become part of the next generation of the club. So the point I'm trying to make is there's becoming a competition for the spots in clubs that we all need to be cognizant of.
Thank you for that amazing advice into sort of that longevity aspect and how that impacts the programs at clubs. Could you maybe take a minute and talk about how that sort of works its way through the finances of the club as well too?
From a financial standpoint, depending upon the nature of the amenity and how the club is structured, their core dues may or may not include, say, racquetball courts or the pickleball courts. However, health and wellness is typically, other than the use of the gym, all those other amenities, all those other services are all extra. There's a club in South Florida on the East Coast itself that we work with. Their wellness revenue last year was about $2.5 million. There are some clubs that aren't even generating $2.5 million by themselves. So when you realize that that can be a significant source of incremental revenue while providing the services that the clubs are, that the members are asking for.
I wanted to kind of ask you a follow-up question about technology.
Sure.
Obviously, you work with a lot of clubs, and technology is becoming an important part of every club member's lifestyle. What has been your recommendation? What has Signature Group been telling your clients with regards to technology?
Technology is so rampant in a positive way that it has changed the way in which clubs operate today. And if you don't have it, your members, especially the younger members, are going to be looking at management saying, we need to get rid of these folks. It's made things quite simpler. There are a variety of great companies like Jonas and North Star that provide fundamental software. But now there's so many other different software programs. I'm really impressed with Pacesetter. They have a great app that are used by clubs that make it easy for people to manage their experiences with the clubs in advance from their home. Kind of like going to Expedia to book a reservation. So the clubs that are taking advantage of it are providing greater services to the clubs, so we recommend it. But they're also, from a standpoint, doing well to control their labor costs. And that's what technology has helped to bring about. So there's nothing that's going to substitute for great customer service, which is why people go to clubs for dining rather than just go to a restaurant, because they want to be recognized and they want to be catered to and they don't want to be rushed out. But at the end of the day, people that are sitting at home and want to check the availability for getting a reservation, it's easier on their app from the club, and that's what they're doing, even the seniors.
Great insight as usual. Thank you for joining. Bruce Lucker from Signature Group.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.